After Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's shocking exposé with Oprah Winfrey, viewers around the world finally learned the depressing and frankly disturbing reality of their life as senior members of the royal family. What many people don't realize is that Oprah has been conducting these sorts of interviews for decades. She's interviewed hundreds of celebrities and covered just about every topic under the sun, from financial problems to accusations of the worst kind. Today we'll look back on some of those interviews, specifically the ones that left us so shook they're still talked about today. Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong is a former professional road racing cyclist and in his heyday was regarded as one of the top American athletes. He won the Tour de France 7 consecutive times between 1999 and 2005 and won a bronze medal in the 2000 Summer Olympic Games. In 1996, Armstrong was diagnosed with advanced testicular cancer, which almost cost him his life. By the time he was diagnosed, the disease had already spread throughout his body, and his urologist said he had almost no chance of survival. He began treatment in December 1996, traveled to Lille, France for a training camp in January 1997, and was declared cancer-free just a month later. This was a man who defied all odds and managed to succeed where few others could. However, the reasons for his success are not nearly as commendable and eventually cost him his career. Armstrong was under suspicion throughout his career of taking performance-enhancing medications. He heavily denied these claims, calling himself the most heavily tested athlete in the world. Despite ongoing suspicions and investigations, Armstrong never admitted to doping until 2013, during his interview with Oprah Winfrey. In the interview, Armstrong confessed to using a cocktail of performance enhancers, including EPO, blood transfusions, and testosterone. He claimed it would have been physically impossible for him to otherwise win his 7 Tour de France titles. During the interview, a calm but inquisitive Winfrey questioned Armstrong on the specifics of his doping, his career, and why he did what he did. In his words, he said that his need to win drove him to take performance enhancers, especially with the pressure of maintaining his image as this miracle athlete who defied all odds. When asked why he only decided to come out with the truth now, he said he knew it was too late to confess and let this go away quietly. Armstrong was stripped of all his titles, including his Olympic medal. He almost lost a huge portion of the $20 million fortune he made from cycling, only managing to stay afloat because he invested in Uber during its early days. Mackenzie Phillips. Mackenzie Phillips is an actor who started taking on roles when she was barely a teenager in 1972. She's most well known for her performances in the movie American Graffiti, the series One Day at a Time, and more recently for her performance as a psychopathic killer in Orange is the New Black. During her teenage and young adult years, Phillips's life began to spiral after a short but tumultuous marriage and a dependency on serious narcotics. She claims that her introduction to these substances came when she was barely a teenager and became exposed to them by her father, musician John Phillips, and her then stepmother, Michelle Phillips. Her dependency became obvious in later seasons of the show One Day at a Time, as Phillips lost a significant amount of weight and her voice became raspy and harsh. In the end, she was made to leave the show and would go on to check herself in for rehabilitation 11 times before committing to sobriety. However, these and even darker details remained hidden until Phillips published her memoir, High on Arrival. She appeared on The Oprah Winfrey Show in 2009 and gave a tell-all interview, the details of which were more disturbing than anyone could have imagined. Phillips admitted that for a decade, she and her own father, John Phillips, had engaged in a mostly consensual physical relationship. After departing from One Day at a Time, she joined her father's band, the Mamas and the Papas, which only worsened her substance usage. She often used narcotics with her father, and during one of these binges, she blacked out and he violated her. She told Oprah that to this day, she doesn't know if that was the first time something like this had happened. From there, they continued a secret relationship fueled by narcotics, even though they were both, at points, married to other people. The relationship finally came to an end when Phillips discovered she was pregnant. Unsure of who the biological father was, but knowing it could be her own father, she had a termination. After that, she says, she never let him touch her again. John Phillips died in 2001 due to heart failure, and these facts didn't come to light until Phillips published her book. Phillips's sister, China, said she knew about the relationship before the release of the book, and she believes her sister. The Olsen twins. It's no secret that Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen have had a contentious relationship with the media pretty much their whole lives. Now in their 30s, the two child stars are retired from acting but remain under the watchful eye of the media. Their interview with Oprah isn't on this list for the reasons you may think. There weren't any horrifying revelations or announcements. This interview is noteworthy because of the backlash Oprah received for her treatment of her guests. The interview took place in 2004. At the time, rumors were circulating that Mary-Kate was suffering from an ED. Just a couple of months after the interview aired, she checked into a specialist facility for that exact reason. Oprah spent an uncomfortable amount of time during the interview discussing these rumors. Of course, the twins denied it, but that didn't stop Oprah from digging deeper. She asked the twins their clothing sizes. This made Ashley Olsen especially visibly uncomfortable, as the then young girls described themselves as petite, refusing to give a full answer. Now knowing that the same year, Mary-Kate would be in hospital because of her mental illness, this is especially unnerving. That clip from the interview recently resurfaced thanks to TikTok.
Okay. I know there's a new rumor that's recently surfaced. Has really upset you, right? You know, the one about eating.
Yeah, people are going to write what they want to write. We try not to read the good or the bad because it just kind of comes with the territory. Either you're too fat, you're too skinny, and people are just going to write what they
What size are you, by the way?
Size?
Yeah, I was like,
I'm really sure.
You're not sure?
Girls, and
that's so interesting.
And viewers were quick to criticize Oprah for her invasive questions and snarky attitude towards the twins. Interviews like that are probably why, to this day, the twins are reluctant to speak to the media about themselves. Michael Jackson. Anyone who knows who Michael Jackson is knows that along with his acclaimed music career, he's spent a lot of time under the spotlight for some pretty terrible reasons. During his career, numerous claims were made against him involving children. He was never found guilty of any of the charges brought against him, but to this day, many believe he's guilty. This was a hot topic in 1993, just months before Jackson participated in a live TV special, Michael Jackson Talks to Oprah. The 90-minute interview covered an array of topics, from Jackson's tumultuous relationship with his father to his cosmetic procedures. Jackson said his father often teased him about his appearance, calling him ugly, and sometimes he would beat him.
No, more than a belt.
What else would he use to hit you with?
Ironing cords. Whatever's around. Throw you up against the wall hard as he could.
The ridicule Jackson endured continued to impact him into his adult life and led him to pursue plastic surgery. Of course, the topic of his skin came up. At this point, many believed Jackson was using skin bleaching products. Jackson denied even knowing skin bleaching existed and said his skin was light due to a medical condition that drained all the pigment from his skin. Jackson claimed this was an inherited condition from his father's side. As the severe accusations made against him didn't make the press until months after the interview aired, they weren't covered in the interview. However, Oprah would address the allegations in later years in her 2019 show After Neverland, which aired following a two-part documentary, Leaving Neverland. The documentary told the stories of Wade Robson and James Safechuck, who alleged that Jackson had an inappropriate relationship with them when they were young. To the shock of many, Oprah took the side of Robson and Safechuck. Anticipating the backlash, she made a point to tell her live audience that as much as someone can do good things, be loving and helpful, they can also be capable of bad things. This did not go down well with many viewers. Some criticized Oprah, claiming she'd turned on Jackson when he wasn't alive to defend himself and that she was using the publicity for her own gain. So, what do you think of these interviews? Were you surprised by the revelations we heard, or was this stuff you already saw coming? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Until next time, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.